Good evening, you're watching Glastonbury to Paris with me, Tim Dougal, and I'm joined by King Khan from King Khan The Shrines.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good, very good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Before we begin, I have a little gift for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been getting
Not
lots
too
of gifts.
creepy.
This tour has been...
It's not like any lingerie.
Wow. Oh, that is great.
And what is it?
It's a, it's a Davy Crockett hat.
Which
Is it a wrap? Is it? It's like a...
I think it's a raccoon.
It's coon. Coon skin.
I actually got that from your home country, Canada.
From Canada? All
yeah.
right.
But now you're based in Berlin, where you formed the band.
I actually formed the band in Kassel, which is a smaller town
Okay.
where it's actually kind of known for the cannibal that lived there.
Right.
Yeah, which was I think shortly after I moved there, there was this this guy who signed a contract
Yeah.
and gave permission for this other guy to eat him. I don't know if you ever heard that story, but that was kind of near where
And
I
that
moved.
was after you joined. You had nothing to do with this.
I had nothing to do with it. No.
Let's talk about your get-up. What
My
came
get-up?
first, the fashion or the music?
Never really thought of myself as being very fashionable, but I do like to. This is probably the most practical thing you could wear on tour. And you know,
Is it a onesie?
You can keep your pounds here and your euros here.
Yeah.
It is a onesie. Yeah.
So is this when you're on tour you get to visit all these cool places?
I do get to travel around the world. I think that was one of the things that made me really want to pursue music.
Okay. I've got a strange question for you. Have you ever given one of your heroes a piece of cutlery?
I have.
Tell us about that.
I had this piece of cutlery at my house for a long time. My wife is German, you know.
Yeah.
And I had actually a British friend of mine who
Brits.
plays with me in the Black Jaspers. He gave me this Nazi knife, a butter knife, years ago when I first moved to Germany.
Yeah.
And I had to kind of hide it because my wife didn't really like it displayed.
Yeah.
You know, and when people would come into my house, I'd be like, "Hey, psst, check out my Nazi knife." So then I had it for a while, and then I eventually realized that I should probably, you know, not really keep it. But I had a chance to meet Lemmy from
Yeah.
Motorhead, and that was my offering to him.
And what was his response? Because it's not
He-
the most normal of gifts.
It was funny because I
More
was,
normal than a raccoon
yeah,
hat.
I was kind of like nervous to meet him because he's very intimidating, and like he had these 2 bottles of Jack Daniels and one little bottle of Coke, and he was sitting there, you know, all kind of tough, and then I just, you know, started talking to him, and then I told him I had a present for him, and I gave him the knife, and then as soon as I gave it to him, he had this like really goofy look on his face, like kind of googly-eyed and smiling. But actually, the first thing he said to me was like, "You look like Little Richard." And
But
I-
Little
I
Rich
was-
is one of your heroes.
Yeah,
isn't
and actually, it's Lemmy's favorite R&B singer.
it? Serious.
Yeah, so yeah, we kind of got along from the get-go, and then I remember telling him about this porno movie that I saw in Memphis that Jay Retard actually showed to me, and that he hadn't seen. 'Cause
Right.
It's a rare porno movie because it's filmed in UV lighting.
Right.
So it's like kind of like black and white, but where like the flesh would be gray, and when it gets hot, then it starts to turn white. You know?
Okay.
So
Sounds
like,
kind of sexy.
it's actually really very psychedelic and kind of, yeah, it's pretty sexy.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like you could see the breasts get hot, like all over.
They would have loved me. Sad and blue, you would have found me. No, my silence has.
Have you ever been victim of a practical joke whilst being on tour?
Oh my god.
Maybe something to do with MySpace.
Oh my god, who told you this?
I can't reveal my sources.
So it started off basically on tour in the States about, I don't know, it was about 6 years ago or something like that, and there was this guy who used to write on our MySpace, like really kind of like pseudo like fan messages that were a little bit too much, you know, that kind of made you
What colour
uncomfortable.
pants are you wearing?
No, it was just like, you know, just too flattering, and like too flattering, and just, it's like, you know, when a dessert is too sweet, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So kind of like that kind of situation. Anyway, so this guy, his name is Lonely Vagabond, and he exists, and we would kind of make jokes about this guy, and then Jeff, the driver, and Mark Sultan, they started they opened up an email account called Lonely Vag,
Yeah.
and I started getting emails from Lonely Vag, and then and at first I was really weirded out, and I said, I was like, hey, I don't know how you got my personal email, but this is a bit strange, and and it's I'm flattered that you like my music, whatever, but let's let's keep it at that kind of thing. And then every day for about 2 weeks, I used to get all these emails from Lonely Vag, and they would be getting progressively more sexual. And then at one point, it got to the point where it was like, okay, I got a hotel in San Francisco, and I want you to come, and I've got champagne there, and there's a hot tub, and then started attaching photos of really kind of explicit gay porn. Anyways, they was driving me crazy, and then finally it got to the point where they got Larry from In the Red Records in on it, and he called me in Seattle a few days before the San Francisco show where this person was supposed to show up.
Yeah.
And then he was like, hey, this guy keeps calling and asking for your phone number on the road. And then I started freaking out. I was almost screaming on the telephone, oh my God, really kind of scared. And the thing was that Larry had been a victim of stalking from some creepy people before.
Right.
So he felt really bad immediately and then called it off. So Lonely Vag.
Lonely Vag.
Yeah.
Seeing your performances on YouTube, you're kind of I want to say a religious preacher on stage, marching about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I take the music pretty seriously. I mean, I think of music as kind of a spiritual thing, and but at the same time, I love to laugh a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess I mean, if you think of a concert as more of a gathering of souls.
Yeah.
And you influence people, and you turn them on, and you turn and they're all united in a way. You can cause a lot of change in that way, And I think music, at least a lot of the music that inspired me the most was revolutionary music that went hand in hand with revolution or the civil rights movement or things like that. So yeah, I take it pretty seriously.
Now, there's a rumour going around Manchester that you're forming a band with Jared Leto. Called
Unconventional Feces.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is happening. This is definitely happening, isn't
This
it?
feels like I'm in the Twilight Zone or something like that. This is very, very
Cosmonaut
strange.
Manchester. Though. Pretty close. Now, you actually had a very famous friend, Lou Reed. How did you two come to meet?
That was an amazing thing too. Lou Reed invited me and Mark Sultan to play with the King Khan Barbecue show in Australia. They, him and his wife, Laurie Anderson, they curated a festival and they chose 8 bands.
Right.
And we were one of them.
Awesome.
So that was really surreal. And then when we finally got to meet them, and we got to hang out with them for 3 or 4 days.
What was he like?
He was wonderful. I couldn't believe it. I was asking them oh, do you about other bands that I was involved in. And they were like, yeah, we have all your music. And they were really unbelievable.
Must be a really humbling experience.
Oh
though.
my God, yeah. I mean, it drove me kind of crazy afterwards because it was hard to believe that you're hanging out.
Okay, so bring this to a close now. What are your hopes and dreams for this year?
Wow. Well, I'll be doing a lot of traveling this year. I'll be going on tour in the States twice, once with the Shrines and once with King Khan Barbecue. We're going to be touring with the Black Lips
Cool.
for a whole month in the States, and we haven't done that in years. So, yeah, that's going to be a big one. That's going to be pretty crazy.
King Khan, it's been brilliant speaking to you.
Hey, thank you.
Give me a
My
hug.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Peace.